Okay, so those are the two proofs. I also put number 3 on there just because I don't want you to forget about it. I think you guys are just like, I got to know my properties, got to know my properties. And yeah, you're darn right you do. But also remember our first day of the unit was the sum of the interior and exterior angles of a polygon. Sum of the interiors 180 times n minus 2. And no matter what the figure is, the sum of the exteriors are always 360. I recommend looking back at your quiz because you guys had to factor and you will have to factor again tomorrow. Okay? Basic factoring that you had to do on your quiz, nothing different. So as I remember some of your factoring on the quiz, you might want to take a look back at how to factor. Just throwing that out there because I saw some cute methods there. Okay? And I don't know if guess and check is going to work tomorrow. Either that or you have really good eyesight. Oh, I got more. This isn't it here. 16 questions. It's just going to be this right here, and that's it. I got 14 more to go after the proofs. I don't have much more. Here's the bottom line. Can you know the darn properties? I am not going to stand here today and say, okay, everybody, let's raise our hand. What are the properties of a parallelogram? Or GAM, I guess. All right. Not going to do that. That's on you. Index cards, Quizlet, whatever the newfound way is nowadays, that's on you. What I am going to do right now in the next 5 minutes is go through each of these and say, how would you prove it? You're on the coordinate geometry one tomorrow, and it says prove it's a rectangle. What's your mission? What are you going to do? What's your plan? Okay? Not right now. Okay, not right now. In a second. All right? Also, just want to bring your attention, number 6, be ready for simplest radical form. Okay, you might have real quick here, you might have, hey, I got radical 72 as my answer, but it says simplest radical form. Anybody know biggest perfect square, 72? Bigger than 9, kiddos, bigger than 9. 16 goes into 70. I don't know if it does, but I know it's bigger. 36 times 2, so I'll be looking for not square root of 72, but 6 radical 2. Now, also, just quick point here while we're on your, hey, quick point, because I saw some of you trying to do, I don't know if it was in this class or period 7 yesterday. When you're doing a coordinate geometry proof and say you use distance formula and you get radical 72, you can keep it that way. You do not have to break it down on a coordinate proof. I would just keep it that way because now you might break it down incorrectly and then you got to get a point off. All right. If 2 sides come out to be radical 72, what do you know about them? They're congruent whether you break it down or not. Okay. So the coordinate proofs, just keep it. All right. Here we go. Real quick. I'm not going to go over the parallelogram. We did it yesterday in class. There's 4 different ways you could prove it a parallelogram. What's your plan tomorrow if I say prove it a rectangle? Okay. Whoa. One way, right away, you can have 4 right angles. What formula would you need for that? Slope. If you're not going to do 4 right angles, you must prove it a parallelogram first. A parallelogram with what? Congruent diagonals makes it a rectangle. Or a parallelogram with 1 right angle makes it a rectangle. Okay? Have a plan tomorrow. You do not need to know all 3, but have a plan. If he asks me to prove a rectangle, I'm doing this. Done. Have a plan tomorrow. That's why I'm going over all these different methods right now. I am not asking you to memorize all the methods. I'm asking you to have one in your mind tomorrow and say, all right, if he asks for the rectangle, I'm doing this. All right? What about rhombus? Rhombus, what could I do to show a rhombus tomorrow? All sides congruent. Got it. All right, if you don't do that, you got to go through the parallelogram. A parallelogram with 2 consecutive sides congruent. Or a parallelogram with Diagonals, perpendicular. Have one in mind. Have a plan. If I ask for a rhombus tomorrow, what are you going to do? All right. What if I ask for a square? Ooh, that'd be real nasty of me, but what if I do that one? Bottom line, you either got to show it a rhombus or a rectangle first. If you chose to show a rhombus, then you have to show it also has a what to make it into a square? One right angle. What if you chose a rectangle? You got to show it has not all sides, two consecutive sides congruent. All right, what if I go trapezoid on you tomorrow? There's only one way. One pair, opposite sides parallel, and that's not good enough. One pair, opposite sides not parallel. What if I go isosceles trapezoid on you? Okay, I got to go a trapezoid first. Go a trapezoid first. So a trapezoid with, I could go two base angles, which is probably on a coordinate proof not going to happen, right? But that is one way to prove the base angles are equal, or legs congruent. Have a plan for every single figure tomorrow. Because yes, be prepared to say, prove it's this, but not this tomorrow. And sorry, at this point in the year, we're almost to the midterm. In an honors class, I have zero sympathy if we cannot get those darn formulas correct. Distance, midpoint, slope. There is no subtraction in the midpoint formula. Never will be. Okay? I don't have any sympathy at this point in the year, guys. I think you would agree with that being in an honors level class heading into a midterm. All right? Know those three formulas, and those three formulas, I believe, are on your coordinate page. All right? Right in your packet. Anything you want to ask right now before I let you loose? Okay? In the back, I didn't give any textbook pages to try out because I think we gave you plenty to work on in your packet. Considering there are 27 different questions, there are practice proofs in there as well. So you might want to skip around. I don't know, going in consecutive order is the greatest idea today. You might want to skip around so you can get a proof in or two. And just like usual, all the answers are on the back. Okay? Don't make me regret this decision. You can move around and work with other people if you'd like, but it's got to be focused on all this stuff. All right, call me over. And you do not have to work on the packet if you want to start making some cards up or start writing down the properties of everything. Get after that, okay? Because you can't do the algebra unless you know the properties. All on you guys. I'll walk around and help you out wherever it's needed. Let's start getting the job done. Last big test of the second quarter. Last test of the second quarter. All we have is one more quiz after this.